going to help us with our offerings. This is a time of the year when many different cultures in many different ways are celebrating light. And also the memory of darkness. One of the reasons that the Christians decided to call today St. John's Day is because John the Baptist is reported to have said, in the same way as the day and the night, they must become greater that I must become smaller. Or they must become greater so that I can become lesser. And one of the central themes of this place is very much to do with powerful beings, powerful people, understanding that one of the most difficult and powerful things that one can do when given power is actually to give that up, to give up that power. I'd like to welcome all of you. Some of you have been coming for more than a decade. Some of you for whom it may be the first time. I want to thank all of you without whom this couldn't happen. I came here and the bollards were already in place. Thank you, 10, for bringing these bollards. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Natalie. Thank you so much, everyone. This vigil is a tradition now, as I said, that's been upkept for 19 years. And it takes a form both structured and unstructured in different ways. Firstly, we're going to hold the light. And can I ask someone who hasn't been here before, who might be happy to hold the light for us? Thank you so much. What's your name, sir? Larry. Thank you, Larry. After holding the light, we're going to tie ribbons to the gate, intoning an echo poem together. Then what will follow is a series of offerings, and I'll go into what those offerings are nearer the time. And following that, we'll conclude today's vigil. But without further ado, let's think carefully about our motivations for being here and to try and create a sense of shining emptiness or a dazzling darkness. This light is often symbolized with that strange impulse within us that keeps us alive, what some have called the soul. But the idea behind this period of silence now is to try and allow the world to flow through you. It's a very busy part. You might hear the trains, you might see people walking past, but just try and focus on the unconscious, the rhythms of your body that you may not always be aware of in this frenetic city, so that we can come to a place where the world reflects. We reflect the world like a still pool. So I'm going to ring this 7 times, then we'll have some silence, then I'll ring it again. Welcome, everyone. Can someone help me give these ribbons around? Just 1 or 2 volunteers, please. Thank you so much. There should be enough ribbons for everyone. Thank you so much for holding the light. So with these ribbons, so in this act of binding and loosing, let's bring to our hearts and minds all of the light, and at whatever rhythm you choose, some of you may know this, some of you may not, so listen to the person nearby and just please repeat the lines. It doesn't have to be like a call and response, it can be at whatever rhythm you choose. And while you do it, come forward to the gates and tie a ribbon. Here lay your hearts.
Here lay your hearts,
Your flowers.
your flowers,
Book of hours.
your book of hours,
Fingers.
your fingers,
Thumb.
your thumb,
Your miss you, mum.
your miss you, mum.
Here hang
Hang on your hopes, your dreams, your might
Your
of
might of
beings,
beings,
your locks,
your
your
locks,
keys,
your
your
keys,
mysteries.
your mysteries,
Here lay
Here lay
your
your
hearts,
hearts.
Here
your
lay your
flowers,
Flowers.
your
your
book of
flowers,
hours,
your book of
your
hours,
Fingers, your
fingers,
thumbs.
your
your
fingers,
thumbs,
thumb,
your
your
mishy
miss you,
mums.
mums.
Here
hang
hang
your
your
hopes,
hopes, your dreams, your might of beings, your locks, your
your
keys,
mysteries.
your
Here
mysteries.
lay your hearts.
Here lay your hearts,
flowers,
your
your book of
flowers, your book of hours,
Your
your
fingers,
fingers, your
Your
thumbs,
thumb,
your miss you mums.
hang your
here
hopes.
hang your
Here
hopes,
hang your hopes, your dreams, your might of beings, your locks,
your
your
locks,
keys, your
Here
mysteries.
lay your hearts.
here
Here
lay
lay
your
your
hearts,
hearts,
Flowers, your
your
book of hours.
flowers,
your book of
Your
hours,
fingers, your
your
thumbs, your miss you,
fingers,
mum.
your
fingers,
thumbs,
your thumb,
your
Here
miss
hang
you
your
your
hopes.
miss
mums.
your mums.
Here
Your
hang your
dreams, your
hopes, your
mysteries.
Your
dreams,
hopes,
your might of
keys.
beings, your locks, your keys, your mysteries.
Here lay your hearts.
Here lay your
lay your
heart,
Flowers,
your
hearts,
your book of
flowers,
hours.
your book of
Fingers,
hours,
your
your
thumbs,
fingers,
miss you, mum.
thumb,
Here hang
your
your
miss you
hopes,
mums.
your dreams, your might of
Your
beings.
hopes, your dreams, your
Your
might
locks,
of
your keys.
beings, your locks, your keys,
Your
your
mysteries.
mysteries.
Here lay your hearts.
Here lay your hearts,
Your
your
flowers.
your
flowers,
flowers,
Your book of hours.
book of hours,
Fingers, your thumbs,
your fingers,
your
your
miss you,
thumbs,
mums.
your miss you mums.
Here hang your
Here
hopes,
hang your hopes,
your dreams,
your dreams,
your might of
your
beings,
might of beings,
your locks,
your locks,
your keys,
keys, your
mysteries.
mysteries.
Your keys, your mysteries.
In the next part of the vigil, we're going to do some offerings, and I'd first like to offer a little parish announcement about next month. Before I go into a little bit about the history of the place, then we'll begin and end with verses from the Southwark Mysteries. I'll explain what that is for those of you who don't know. But in the middle of these offerings, please feel free to come forward. This place is a graveyard. Southwark was a place where, unlike in the City of London, theatres, gambling dens, bear pits, and brothels were allowed. The City of London was more about number crunching, still is. This was a place where people came to have fun, or from some perspectives, to do their sinning. I say that because the Bishop of Winchester, who owned a lot of the land here, also provided the ordinances for a group of brothels. The women in one of those brothels were collectively referred to as the Winchester Geese for that reason. These ordinances were legally binding contracts. The church had a long history of providing ordinances for sex work in the Middle Ages and before. And so it was the bishop's duty, together with his constables, to make sure that the women could come and go as they pleased, that they weren't being assaulted, all these kind of things. At least that's in the ordinances. We don't know whether they were actually carried out, but that was what was in the ordinances. The tragedy came when, after they died, the bishop in many ways reneged on his commitment, because it was his duty to bury them, to offer them proper Christian burial, and he didn't. At least according to the historian John Stowe, he buried them in church-owned yet unconsecrated land, and that in medieval terms, in psychogeographic terms, means destined for damnation. Basically, it was a moral condemnation in the moment where they had no way of explaining their life because they'd passed on. And in 1996, a dear friend of ours who helped to begin these vigils, John Crow, who may well be on Zoom now, because I know he can't go to Glastonbury. Lots of love with you, John, from all of us, had a vision. And this vision was of God, man, and beast communing for one moment in eternity. Basically, the goose started to provide John with some very, very beautiful poetry. And quite spookily, I can't remember if it's 2 weeks or 2 months later, the Jubilee line were digging electricity pylons down into the ground here, which is owned by Transport for London. And they discovered an estimated 15,000 human skeletons, dense and crushed upon one another, most of whom were children and thereafter women. So this place has come to be associated with John Stowe's single women's graveyard. It was certainly a pauper's burial pit for those who couldn't afford proper burial. And in fact, when gardeners are working here, our kind volunteer gardeners who help keep this space alive with flowers and trees and growth, they still sometimes see bones. They have to call the plague squad in. So this is really a graveyard for social outcasts, and that's why we come here to remember them. The goose is also what those in religious studies or theology might call a palimpsest. For those of you who don't know, a palimpsest is basically the Romans would have written on these wax tablets, and they would have written things on top of what they were writing. So a palimpsest is essentially, in this case, the divine feminine, who has been worshipped in many cultures at many different times, or if not worshipped, honored. And for that reason, the goose is associated with Mary Magdalene, whose Saints' Day we celebrate next month on the 22nd of July. And one of the most, for me, as a Christian pagan, one of the most moving things that happens each year at Crossbones is that the local cathedral church, whose matron saint is the saint of actors, ferrymen, beggars, and harlots, St. Mary Overy or St. Mary over River, they come and process in all pomp and ceremony with all their servers and their incense and their churchy stuff to this graveyard to commit an act of regret, remembrance, and restoration for the church's mistreatment of sex workers. And one could say in the logic of palimpsest, for all of the abuses conducted by those in power. And it's very, very moving, different to what we're doing now, an incredibly moving service. So if any of you are at all interested, including those on Zoom who could make it next month, please give your email address to Natalie, is that right? Who is at the moment holding the phone for the Zoomers. Welcome Zoomers, by the way. Zoomers and boomers. The details are here. It's called Blessings and Bards. 12:30, 23rd of July, on the same day this year as the Vigil will be in the evening. So a big Crossbones celebration day. Now, I'm going to explain to you what the offerings are. So, I'm often reminded by fellow people who lead the vigils that this isn't necessarily a open mic, but whatever comes to your heart and mind at this time, with regards to the time of the year we're in, your particular religious tradition, loved ones who passed on recently, or anniversary, birthdays, death days, anything that comes to your heart that you feel relevant, that you feel comfortable to share in this space, please come forward. We're going to bookend it with a poem from the Southwark Mysteries at the beginning and end. But when I've said this poem, can I just get a show of hands of who wants to? 10, great, keen, amazing. Anyone else? Come on, it's the solstice. Anyone?
Short one.
Yay, thank you, Dave. Dave 1000, represent.
500.
Sorry?
500.
Sorry, I'm doubling you. Dave 500. Well, don't feel like this is the final word. If you suddenly feel like you want to, then please put your hand up halfway through. But for now, we have those two. That's amazing. Thank you. So this is a poem from what the Southwark Mysteries. This is what the visions became. They became a mystery play. And this is the song sung by the disciples in that mystery play. I am the death and pain of 2,000 years and more, the unidentified body washed up on the foreshore. I am Abel, slain by Cain, Esau cheated of his birthright. I am Sarah Everard walking home, footsteps in the night. So, mock me, revile me, do your damnedest to defile me, make me crawl my crooked mile to Calvary Hill, with sticks, with stones, with bottles and bones. I'm the last man alone with his suicide pill. I am the Paddy Navy come to drain St. George's bogs, the Windrush family reading the sign, no coloureds, no Irish, no dogs. Thalidomide, I teach my stumpy hands to open doors. I am the child raped and murdered in the place of dead souls. So, hang, draw and quarter me, lamb to the slaughter me, don't forget to water me before night falls, with poles, with pikes, with ditches and dikes. I'm the battered bride who's always walking into walls. I am the bartered child in the slave mart of Babylon. The woman who died in a burning house trying to save her children. Give me your hate, your rage, your mob on the rampage, your riot on the front page of yesterday's news. With fingers, with fists, with blades that switch. I am the bare light bulb, twitching in a cellar full of shoes. Here's Christ in the gents. He's down on his knees in the vomit and beer, scrabbling to put back together the broken pieces of the mirror. Ten, please, welcome. Thank you so much.
Very quick quote. Been through some very dark times recently, but this is a nice quote. It's meant to be. It's a monthly quote at 56A Crampton Street info shop. Cool place you can check out, but it's been there for months, so they've been busy. We must travel with our sadness, because every dream of a new world requires us to understand we've been broken by the old. It's by Gargi Bhattacharya.
Can you say it one more time?
Sure.
Thank you.
We must travel with our sadness, because every dream of a new world requires us to understand we've been broken by the old.
Thank you so much. And yeah, we stand at this time on the corner of two different worlds. worlds where the days get longer and the world where the day grows shorter. So thank you so much, 10. Day 500 or 1000 maybe this time, but welcome.
Don't mind being called Dave 1000. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm Day 500. I first come here 12 years ago after watching a program about the skeletons that were taken up in the graveyard, so they could build that building there. And that's what led me here. That program led me here. The other reason I come here is my son passed away almost 11 years ago, and his picture's on the gate there. So I come here. That's another reason why I come here. Also, I've done a lot of family history, and my family come from this area as well, between here and Jamaica Road. Yeah, I've done a lot of work, and yeah, my son, he became a very high-class radio engineer. I taught him about electronics, and he went on into pirate radio. And so I'm very proud of him, of the things that he did. And as I say, that's the reason why I'm here. So thank you very much. Sorry it can't be longer.
Thank you, Dave. Can you tell us the name of your son? Jason, yeah. So let's remember Jason.
Angriness Brimstone.
Angriness Brimstone, the innovator of the Outcast radio station. Amazing, thank you. Yes, please come forward. The gentleman who held the light for us. Remind me your name again.
Larry.
Larry. Welcome, Larry.
Yeah, a bit of a journey for me. First time at the Vigil. I've been following this beautiful place for a while. When I started working up London, I was always working in Essex before. Worked over in Salisbury Square, which is directly opposite St Bride's Church, which is where John was shown over when the goose showed John on the walk. It's from St Bride's Church over in Fleet Street, over on the mudflats to here. My second job brought me to London Bridge, Hayes Galleria. The name sounded familiar, Counter Street sounded familiar. Someone was talking to me, a bit like the goose was talking to John. Started looking at family history. All my ancestors worked on the market. They lived in Great Dover Street. This is where they lived and traded on the market for years and years. Costermongers, market traders. So it felt like home. It is home. I was led up here one lunchtime, God knows why. And so I feel a very deep affinity with this place. A year ago, just to finish, I'd be living on the gate. Never had a pet. Had a cat for 18 years called Poppy. She's on there now. Love of her life. Had to let her go. And she's here now in eternity. So, yeah, it means a lot. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. Yeah, this is very much a spirited place here. And so thank you for sharing your connections to all this. Does anyone else want to share something? Yay! Love your boots, by the way. Welcome. What's your name?
Tasmania.
I think we've met. I think we have, maybe in another life, but welcome.
Thank you. I just wanted to say that Andy the gardener used to host a bonfire party on fireworks night, the 5th of November. And I used to come here with Vivian Westwood. We'd have a bonfire in here and fireworks. And fireworks that got shot off really close to you. And it was the best fireworks bonfire parties ever. And just a note to Vivian, you know, we miss her so much. That's all really.
Thank you so much. Yes, let's remember Vivian Westwood. Does anyone on Zoom have a contribution? Well,
I don't think so. No. Thank
nice
you.
to see you, Jackie.
Thank you.
Yeah, Jackie's been working tirelessly to keep Zoom included. Since COVID, we've had hybrid vigils, basically. So thank you so much, Jackie. Does anyone else want to make any offerings this time? Would you like to come up? Okay. So it's amazing the journey this place has been on. And especially now that the lease has been secured for, was it 20 years?
30.
30-year lease, yeah.
Be signed soon.
So yeah. But that's a lovely image, fireworks going off in the graveyard. Wow, potatoes in the fire with butter. Sounds dangerous. Right. Thank you. But it is just a testament to the extent to which when we really have a vision or a dream, it doesn't just have to stay in the realm of dreams. It can become real. And as they say in the Vigil, many of you may hear next month, where the disciples stood in a garden that became a tomb, we now stand next to a tomb that's become a garden. And yeah, we should not shy away from manifesting our dreams, even if there's less time to dream because the nights are shorter. It's also a chance to try and use the energy, the solar energy at this time to turn our dreams into reality. And how places can just change from being was unrecognizable. This was a building site into being such a beautiful, fertile garden. So one more call for offerings, otherwise I can close this section.
I'd like to say something.
There's something from
Jen.
the Zoomers.
Jen.
Ah, Jen. Perfect. Oh, great. We just have a speaker we can put you in, Jen.
But we don't because we don't have the connection.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah. Sorry.
We've actually had a bit of a, let me, should we turn this around so she can see?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it does.
Yes, we do.
Jen, we can actually put you in a speaker. We've got the technology now.
We have the technology.
Yeah.
I don't know what you've done.
Can I
There we go.
are you ready for me to speak?
Yep. Can everyone hear Jen? Yay. Should we turn it around so that she can see the others?
You've pressed something and I don't know what to do.
Ah, there we go.
Okay, well, it doesn't matter. I don't mind talking to myself. I want to say thank you to Mark. Mark was on his way to Glastonbury for the festival, and because I've got COVID, he dropped those plans. He's come from Exeter to lead the vigil, and it makes me cry to even think of what he's done. He's an absolute marvel. He's turning around and he's going back to go to the festi tonight. And I just want to thank him from the bottom of my heart for stepping in. Thank you very much, Mark. Thank you, everybody. I'm finished.
Jen, on the one hand, I'm incredibly grateful for that, but on the other hand, you and John always say one shouldn't let one's ego get in the way of these and making it difficult. But thank you.
Your
Okay.
ego served us.
So, in the spirit of how things can so rapidly change so dramatically, and because we are on a pivot of the year at the moment, I'd like to say one of my favorite poems from the Mysteries. For those of you who come often, it's like, but Mark, do you know anything else? And but this one is just perennially relevant, and it's so beautiful that I'd like to share these words with you to close. And it's a breezy day, so you'll see it's relevant. I am the wind. I rake the wild grasses. I am the reaper, the sower, the seed. I am the day of the bonny lads and lasses, and I'm the night where their secret paths lead. I am the sense field. I flower in your fingers. I am the musk in the dusk of the day. I am the ghost of the smile that lingers when the face where it flickered has faded away. I am the song of the blackbird in Eden. I am the waft in the butterfly wing. And I am here in the static and stutter that shutter how much I can take in. I am the white noise of a nervous system. I am the silence in which it reroutes. I am the gods and the men who resist them. The madness in the eyes of the men in suits. I am in George. I must conquer my dragon. I am in Martha. I nurse the red gash. I am Len with her red raw rag on. I am Carly, razor in the flash and slash. I am the light in the shadow, revealing. I am the grace that transfigures the sin. I am the wound which prefigures the healing. I am the light in the traveler's inn. I'll be your icon, your muse, your conceit. I'll be whatever you would have me be. I'll be Mary Magdalene, washing your feet if it helps you see through what divides you from me. Thank you. Perfect. So to complete this in beauty and to truly open the pathways for the month ahead and for the spirits here to give them peace and joy, we're going to conclude. I haven't left anything out, have I? I'm suddenly getting a bit paranoid. No, I know I started slightly in an unorthodox way doing the 7 bells, but it's okay. This isn't exactly defined by its orthodoxy, so, or orthopraxy even. So, the final part of the vigil is, it's really good vibes. Everyone hold a part of the gate, or if there are too many of us, maybe there are, hold someone with their permission who's holding a part of the gate. So please come forward. This is the portal. And can we have someone, please? We usually have Jin Jen. Can we have someone to channel Jin Jen? Oh, thank you. So this was very much a sucker for certainly Victorian sex workers. It's called Jin. Has anyone heard of it? We like to enclose the space in Jin. It's kind of a sacrament for us, but feel free to come for a sip of it afterwards, carefully and cautiously. Drink responsibly, but we like to kind of close the space. So, since you can say in unison, and just repeat after me. Life.
Life,
Life,
health,
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 happiness,
happiness,
open pathways,
open
Life.
pathways,
life,
health,
health,
happiness,
happiness,
Open
open pathways,
Health in the body.
health
health
in the body,
Peace in the spirit.
peace in the
in the
spirit,
Love in
spirit,
the heart.
love in the
heart.
heart.
It is this that we wish.
It is
This
this that we
that we
wish
wish
Ourselves,
for
for
ourselves,
ourselves,
for our friends and family,
for our friends and family,
crow,
for the
the
goose and the
goose and the
crow,
crow,
all our brothers and sisters,
for all our
all
brothers
our
and
brothers and
sisters,
all the
sisters,
beings in all the worlds.
for all the beings in all the worlds.
Life,
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 health,
health,
happiness,
happiness,
open pathways,
open pathways,
health in the body,
health in the
in the
body,
body,
spirit,
peace in the
peace in the
love in
spirit,
the
spirit,
heart.
love in the
love in the
heart.
heart.
It is this that we wish.
It is this
This
that we
that we
wish
wish
Ourselves,
for ourselves,
for ourselves,
family,
for
for
friends
our
and
friends and
family,
family,
for all our
for our
brothers and sisters,
siblings,
crow,
for the goose and the crow,
the goose and the crow, and for all
beings
humanity.
Humanity.
goose, may you never be hungry.
Goose
may
may
never
never
be
be
hungry.
hungry.
May you never be thirsty.
Goose
Goose
may
may
never
never
be
be
thirsty.
thirsty.
Spirits fly free.
Goose
Goose,
may
may your spirit fly free.
Pathways.
open pathways.
And so she does.
So she does.
open pathways.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Goodness me, I'm exhausted.
He certainly whizzed us through that, didn't he?
Who went through that?
Oh, bless his heart.
I shall now. Does anybody here have any offerings that they want to make now? Because we're still live streaming on Facebook and I'm still recording. So if you want to make any offerings, hello, Doug. Hello. Does
There.
anybody want to make
Hello,
any?
Doug.
Or I'll stop the recording otherwise. Let's see.
Hi, Doug.
Doug's yawning, so maybe he doesn't want to make any offerings. Shall I end the recording? I'll stop live streaming on Facebook. So bye-bye, Facebook.
Night, night.
Thank you for
Thank
being
you.
here. It's been
you,
lovely to
everybody.
have you with us. There were 4 people watching us, which is very nice. So that's sort of
Excellent.
doubled. That's doubled our online presence, which is lovely. Thank you, everyone. See you next month.
Night, night.
And then let's